Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, I have got a new framing nailer and a pancake compressor and some airline, and I am getting ready to set up and do some framing out here in the barn dominium. Welcome to Man Time. Alright man, well I've got some new airline and I just picked this up from my local hardware store. Might have been Tractor Supply or Atwood's, one of the two. But yeah, a nice 50-foot 3/8 KT Industry. I don't know that this one is made in the USA. I've actually seen where you can get some from like Amazon that are made in the USA, Continental brand. Matter of fact, I just got a replacement for my normal compressor, and it came and it was made in the USA. But I'm getting this one set up here to hook up to my pancake compressor. You're gonna have to put a female end on one end, male end on the other, and then I don't know what the framing nailer is going to have with it, so I got an extra male connector and an extra female connector there. But we're going to get this all set up. I do want to go through 2 speed wrenches is what you need here. Yeah, I'm going to be off grid here for a while, but I did get a generator so I can start doing some bigger projects like this, and this little pancake compressor comes in real handy for stuff like this. I got this, I think, at a Christmas party as a giveaway gift about 10 years ago or so. Anyways, we got the best thread lock tape around. Not Teflon tape per se, but Teflon tape. This is Blue Monster. Best in the business. You'll see this stuff for hydraulic and gas fittings when a seal is critical. Yeah, Blue Monster PTFE thread tape. That is really the stuff you're going to want to be using. Yeah, so male on one side, female on the other. Parker fittings. There's nothing more frustrating, right, when you're trying to get your project done and you got air spitting back at you from the fitting, especially when you're doing videos like this, right? And you just hear that constant hissing. When you're on regular electric, it's just like flushing money down the drain, because that's when that compressor is going to have to kick back on that much sooner, and it's annoying and frustrating. All right, man. Well, getting down to the heart of the matter here. The framing nailer was the big purchase that I had to make. Not having to do framing, and I decided to go with, wood studs. I'm saving about $4 a stud, and when you think about, 1,000 studs times 4, it's a pretty big cost savings going from metal to wood, and that's even with the treated wood. So I'm planning on using 10-foot treated 2x4s for all of the framing that I'm going to have to do. So like any good consumer, you go out and you look and you start with Harbor Freight, right? You start looking there, and they had, I think their top of the line ones is a Hercules brand, and it was fairly expensive for the Hercules brand. I think it was $300 for their framing nailer. Well, there's a couple different things I guess you can look for before you even start looking at framing nailers is the degrees, right? The different degrees, one, it makes it kind of a little bit more compact with a higher degree, so you can, it's typically 21, 28, and 30. 21 is going to be, less of an angle back. It's going to be more kind of straight down, so less ergonomic. There's also fewer nails per bundle or per distance. with a lower degree, right? So for a 30 degree, basically you want to get a 30 degree because there's more nails in less space, right? So you can fill it up with nails, and you're going to have maybe 30 to 40% more nails in a 30 degree than you would a 21 degree. I think that's the main difference. I think they all kind of, hammer in there the same. It's just the way that they're packaged. So I got a 30 degree. All right, so I looked at Harbor Freight. They had varying degrees of ones. The top end magnesium one, what you want to get the lightest one possible. From there was about 300, and then I went to Home Depot, looked there. Theirs were all kind of pretty much high end. I think Plascode was the brand that they had there, and that one was like $450, between $400 and $450. Anyways, looking on Amazon, and this is, I think, one of the highest rated ones. It's a Metabo HPT 30 degree paper collated. Anyways, this one was actually cheaper than the high-end Harbor Freight one, and this is actually a higher end. If you look at the construction between this one and the Hercules, whatever Harbor Freight top of the line one was, this actually looks like a much better unit. So I think I got the best one, and it was actually cheaper than the Harbor Freight one. So don't always think you're getting the best deal at Harbor Freight just because it's Harbor Freight. I think that's what they wanted us to think is happening at Harbor Freight, right? Oh, look at there, safety glasses. You never have too many pairs of those. I think it's sweaty and scratched up pretty quick. But I think that was Harbor Freight's game plan when they first showed up on the scene. In the early, let's see, when did they show up? The early 2000s, and they used to have like tool shows, right, where they would bring like a 18-wheeler full of tools and set up in some rental building in my hometown, probably early 2000s. And then you started seeing like stores popping up, and the first store I went into was like 2006. And it was just glorious. They always had the mailers where you could get something like 30% off, 50% off sometimes, like crazy deals, right? But the flyers don't come anymore. And now the prices are the same as like where, Lowe's and Home Depot and Ace Hardware and stuff like that. The prices have leveled out. But what they did was they forced a lot of the companies to compete with those prices. Places like Sears, which is no longer in business, they created their Evolve line, I think in competition with Harbor Freight, when that was really the wrong move. They had a better product in their regular Made in USA Craftsman, coming in somewhere as near double the price. But if they would have just worked to make those manufacturing lines more efficient rather than offshoring to China, with that really cheap, junky line. I don't know if anybody had even seen those, but they were just garbage. You could tell they were garbage. And, like I said, I shopped at Sears. I did get on the Harbor Freight bandwagon right out of college when I was trying to build my arsenal of tools, but realized very quickly that was the wrong approach, and buying USA made and a place where you could get a warranty and a lifetime tool like Sears made sense to me. But that's, if I break one now, I don't know that I can go to Lowe's, which now stocks the Craftsman name, which is not made in USA anymore. Anyways, let's get a fitting. Where did I go wrong on that? We started somewhere, and we ended up somewhere else. Who knows? Let's get, look at that. It already comes with a fitting. Okay. Well, I've got my airline stretched out in the sun, laying flat to get those kinks out of it. So we might do a couple things here. We might start up the generator. I'm doing a video on that, and then we can see if the generator is going to be able to power this compressor and ultimately this nail gun. All right, well, I've got my new generator here, and what I want to do is see if we can charge the scissor lift and run a compressor at the same time, and possibly even a miter saw. So let's try this out. Pretty easy. It's got the key fob, which is really nice. Just hit start. right, so the Plasco nailer we saw there, we can power the pancake compressor with the new generator. Last thing I think is going to be to see how intuitive it is to put nails in this thing. And how intuitive is it? Okay, so there's a slidey deal here with this little button there, and I think it's just as easy as that. I mean, yeah, so I went and I got a bunch of these nails. These I got from, let's see, I think Lowe's. I don't know exactly what size they are, but I think you just kind of slide them down. Let's see, it looks like the angle is going to match up with that angle, and then just, yeah. So I've got a bunch of these nails in here. The box that they came in kind of disintegrated, but I think they're Hitachi brand nails. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's just keep going. Can it hold 3 of them? Let's try 3. Nope. Nope, not quite 3. So you're going to have to go with 2. And I think as soon as you unload about half of one of those, you can probably get the third one in there. So anyways, this looks like it's going to be a pretty good nailer. I'm going to be able to power it off-grid here without power until I get service hooked up here, which shouldn't be too far off. So it should be nice to be able to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my utility room set up with the aid of this, right, framed out in 10-foot studs. And then I've got 2 electrical panels. I've got I think a 250 amp main and a 150 amp sub or something like that, way oversized. And I'm going to get those installed in there, get the water line hooked up with the manifold, and get all that stuff kind of going. And then we should be able to get some light on the situation in here. So stick with me until I get some power in here, and then we can get back to kind of more urban videos, you know. Right now it's a little off-grid, but anyways, that's the new nailer. This is the one I went with. Cheaper than the Harbor Freight, better, I think, as well, lightweight, and delivered right to your door. I mean, what more can you ask for, really? So, Metabo, this is the HPT 30 degree, NR90 AD-S1 3.5 inch. So, there you go. All right, that's going to do it for today on Man Time. Get out there, have you some man time, too.